Hey guys, welcome back. So today I had a little bit of a monster drink and I'm super duper hyper right now, and that's why I chose to do this video. Yes. Anyway, I want to dive a little deeper into today on what I'm going to be focused on, which is pen testing. And of course, I have experience with managing over 10 pen testers in the world of casinos, meaning they did online engagement for online gaming and also physical land-based casinos. They went on site. I went on site. I've did audits. I've did audits on slot machines. I did audits on the cash cages, and I did a whole bunch of other stuff that was amazing. Can you imagine, as a job, waking up in the hotel room of a casino, getting free food, and then walking downstairs, hearing the slot machines go off, and I'm just walking around doing my cybersecurity stuff. It was amazing. But it did require some traveling, which was fine. But, obviously I had different engagements and I've learned a lot from working with my team. So I did manage them, and I want to highlight all of that. So I do have some experience in what's the day-to-day like for a pen tester, because I was a hiring manager in that position. And I want to go over this very, very sincere email from a commenter or subscriber for this channel. And I want to bring this to light. So I'm going to share that with you guys right now. So let's first off read off, "Hey Cyber Hack, I enjoy your videos." As cliche as that may sound, guys, trust me, it's never too cliche. You can say it a million times and I'll never get sick of it. "But I've been following you for a few months to keep my fingers on the pulse of the job market and how to approach it. I'm up and coming graduate and have been applying to help desk roles based on some of your advice regarding entry-level positions. Initially, I was focused on junior and tier 1 security and analyst roles, but I haven't had much luck with those. Interestingly, the help desk position I've applied to have been gaining more traction, even if it's just a small amount. I've also been attending conferences to network and expanding my connection. Great. And I've been asking around in my network for any advice or leads." That's a start, right? You have to start somewhere. "Given that, I want to ask you if you have any specific advice for an up-and-coming graduate like me. I already hold my Security Plus certification. I'm currently deciding between pursuing the pen test or the CISA Plus. While both would renew my Security Plus, I'm leaning towards pen testing, as that's the area I want to build my career in. However, I've heard that the CISA might offer more opportunities in the broader security field. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this." Yes, because it's more of a blue team. Most organizations hire blue teamers because pen testers are usually outsourced and you're working for a consulting company. But don't stop there. Let me continue. "Also, if you have any advice beyond CompTIA certifications, it would be greatly appreciated. Any insight you can offer would be helpful or would help me gain more clarity on how to navigate these seas and make the most early stages in my career. I'm going to help you. Just stay with me on this one. Thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate any advice you can share." So, of course, I shared my experience. I wrote an email responding to all this. And then I also said, hey, let me put this into a video so I can detail out everything I want to say visually, not just in words. So he goes, "I appreciate you getting back to me and sharing your insight. It's great to hear from someone with your experience. I'll definitely look into the PMPT, OSCP, and PJPT as my next steps. If it makes sense, I'll be interested in hearing your thoughts on the affordability and practicality of these certs in the video as well. Thanks again for giving me advice, and I look forward to the video to get some details." All right, so we're 3 minutes and 48 seconds in. I'm promising not to make any more edits. So let me just go and do this. Before I go any further, let's close out my email. There you go. Anyway, TryHackMe has a lot of great stuff that you can actually learn from, that not necessarily a penetration certification, but if you just type in the word pen and you get junior penetration tester, how awesome is that? Offensive pen testing. Most pen testing is pretty offensive, right? You're going against something. And of course, legally, you can make sure you got to do this all legally. So that's why it's crucial that you start from the junior pen testing, because you have to learn the rule of engagement. You have to know what you can focus on and what you're not supposed to do. All right. So offensive pen testing, great. CompTIA pen test. So they actually have a module here or a room here that helps you, a learning path that helps you pass the pen test plus. Now, as a hiring manager in the past for pen testers, I tend not to look at the CompTIA pen test plus as much as I would look at like the PJPT or even the PMPT. and anything above that, right? OSCP, and of course there are other, I believe, other pen testing, but I was really fixated as junior people obtaining or having the PJBT. I don't know what it is. I just felt like it was more hands-on and you had more to deal with real life scenarios, because I felt like the whole TCM security thing, which I have open, is something that I was really intrigued with. Of course, there is also web application pen testing. So I want to tell you guys a quick story. When I had the 10 pen testers under my management, I felt like each one of them had such a unique skill. One was great with mobile, like hacking mobile devices, Android devices, iOS devices. Then I had someone else who was awesome in, cracking hashes and had the hardware for it and was intrigued with all that technology. And then I had someone that was like well versed in web pen testing, and he had the certifications to prove that. And he was like the most resourceful guy on the website of stuff. I had another pen tester who was like super fluent in Python and Rust and, writing scripts and automating so many things for the team. I had another tester that, his engagement with, just finding vulnerabilities and, just going at these different environments and just having a well thought out methodology on how to approach these vulnerabilities and just going at it, right? And of course, we had between juniors all the way up to SMEs, seniors, and whatnot. So everyone obtained their full skills by constantly doing the same work over and over again because they enjoyed it. Now, one thing I do want to say is that whenever I had them all grouped up in a team huddle and we met every single day practically just to see where we are in different engagements, because everyone needed a hand. Maybe like, there's a lot of assets that they needed to Nmap scan and, just inventory wise, you had external web pen testing, you had internal web pen testing, you had authenticated ones, which is like, white hat or black hat. It really depends on the engagement and the type of client that we were dealing with at that time. But, everyone always collaborated and we always got the engagement done. Now, the final thing was always reports. The reports were like the most tedious thing that they had to put together, and everyone had to follow the same format. With the formatting, we had to have multiple layers of peer review. So one pen tester would do the testing, put the report together, another tester would review it. And once they review it, the final cutoff is when I have to review it. As a lead, I had to review the reviewer's review, right? So it was like 3 layers of review to make sure once the client receives it, that was error-free, no issues whatsoever. So that was definitely a really like a true engagement every single time. And we were spitting out reports to clients because of the organization and how active it was. I was probably looking at like 10 to 20 reports in a week. Guys, it's a lot of reporting. All the assets, all the vulnerabilities, how we address them. And then we would sit with the client to kind of explain everything. Sometimes they agree to it, sometimes they don't. So I just want to make sure that's the kind of stuff that you would be dealing with. As a junior pen tester, you would probably do the engagement, right? You will follow someone, put the report together, but you don't need to do all that right now. You could learn it first, and then when you actually find a job, obviously you probably have the hands-on experience by doing all the stuff that I'm going to show you right now, and then it'll be a piece of cake. So let's go over. We have TCM Security. This is my account right now. This is for the PNPT, and of course you see that I already completed my practical ethical hacking complete course. I'm at 99%, and then the Windows privilege escalation. And then I didn't even start my Linux because I didn't finish the Windows portion of it. And then we have the OSINT. And of course, these are the ones, these are all of it, right? But my subscription actually has the amount that requires you to do the whole PMPT certification. And I believe the practical ethical hacking portion of it is the core of that. So, all right. Yeah, right here. So I already had it open. So here, I didn't even start my exam yet, but you can see that, I still have a little bit. I tend to jump around to all these different things because I'm still studying for like the C-Risk. I'm still studying for the PMPT. I even said that I'm still studying for the OSCP. Yes, I been reading the PDF. I've been like just probably catching up on a lot of different things because everything still intrigues me. And it's not a great thing to jump around all the time, but I just, it keeps me happy. It keeps me sane, right? I like to not be fixated on one thing too much sometimes, and because it gets boring. But anyway, so I want to share that with you. So this is the PMPT, but do not forget, if you feel like that's too intimidating, PJPT, I have just as much respect for it. And right here, it details out $249. You can't go wrong with that. 20 plus hours of on-demand training, and you have a full year to access this with hands-on lab. I think this illustrates and showcase what you can actually do in the real world. I actually had someone that I spoke to way back for a pen test role. I actually got them because they were a viewer on this channel as well. And I got them through an interview to sit with us at the organization that I was at last. And he straight up got the PJPT, and we were impressed because he was junior, he was entry level, and that's what we were looking for: talent and passion. Those two different things, but it once you combine the two, that's what you're looking for. Someone that can deliver, speak on it, and still be persistent on wanting to learn more. So anyway, PJPT is definitely something that I would look at compared to the Pen Test Plus, which is this, right? This I've seen people have, and I'm like, it just never intrigued me. All right. And it was, maybe it's a personal preference. Now, the other thing that I'm not even going to mention here is the CEH. I've seen individuals that had CEH, but it wasn't like, okay. I mean, like the Pen Test Plus is more like Q&A, 60 questions, 100 questions, whatever amount of questions there were. But it didn't illustrate your hands-on capabilities like the PJPT would or the PMPT. Now, I am not sponsored by any of these companies, especially TCM. I'm really favorable about them. And also TryHackMe, which I love because now my streak is 0, but I promise I jump around all the time. My highest streak was probably like 7 days. And then I go to my Udemy courses. But anyway, you can even do that on Udemy. I also have a Udemy account that I watch certain videos. But TryHackMe is definitely more hands-on. You actually have to do the engagement with them. And I believe Hack the Box as well. But my opinion is that I used to have a Hack the Box account, but Hack the Box was definitely more, in my opinion, intermediate to more advanced. I just liked how TryHackMe was more kindergarten-ish, right? More baby-ish. Seemed to me being more like a Sesame Street environment where it kind of threw you in the right direction. Intermediate, easy. You can see the little labels down here. I guess, you can argue and say, Hack the Box is similar, but I just felt like, TryHackMe was definitely more user-friendly and more kiddie-like, in my opinion. And I learned a lot still. So that's why I still have my subscription and I still utilize it to full extent. And then, of course, my TCM stuff. So here you go. That's pretty much the overall. If you want more details, I can definitely dive a lot deeper into it. The other thing is that I just want to share with you guys what I thought, because I do have the experience that I was hiring for these roles, which I've hired 2 people in the role in pen testing when I was there. And then also that, I had the full experience of going through the full motion from start to end, from the time the client or the customer signed the engagement. I had to review it and with my boss, right? And then I had to find resources with the PM to assign them to that particular project to start the engagement. And every day when we had our huddle, there would be some challenges, right? Client's not ready. Whatever scans we did affected operations during that time. And now we have to hold off. We came in from a wrong IP that was identified in the statement of work. So many different factors, so many different things that you will pick up along the way as you're learning all of this. Some of it you may not learn through these little courses, but definitely as I can speak a lot more on it because of the experience that I have. I want to thank everyone here. Please hit that like, comment, subscribe because it keeps me alive. Thank you, and I'll see you guys again really soon. Take care.